Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about the factors affecting GFR. First of all, what exactly is GFR? Right? GFR is your glomerular filtration rate. Right? Now, how exactly we define glomerular filtration rate? It is basically the amount of filtrate filtered by glomerular filtering membrane of both the kidneys of all the nephrons in a given unit of time, right? So definition should be in exact words, right? Glomerular filtrate filtered by glomerular filtering membrane of both the kidneys of all the nephrons in a given unit of time. uh, Ideally, it ranges around about 125 ml per minute, right? GFR. Roughly, it will be 125 ml per minute. Now, the main motto of this video is to discuss the factors affecting GFR. So let's discuss them out. So what are the factors which can either increase or decrease this GFR? So let's draw a circle in between factors affecting GFR. Okay. So the first factors which affect GFR is your renal blood flow. Very important factor. Renal blood flow. So practical common sense, if the renal blood flow increases, the GFR is going to increase. If renal blood flow decreases, the GFR is going to decrease. Now there are many other factors which actually affect the renal blood flow, which we are going to discuss in subsequent videos. But increase in renal blood flow will increase GFR, decrease in renal blood flow will decrease GFR, right? Apart from that, there is one more important factor, and it's called glomerular hydrostatic pressure, right? Glomerular hydrostatic pressure also affects GFR. Glomerular hydrostatic pressure. Now, how glomerular hydrostatic pressure affects GFR? Of course, higher is the higher glomerular hydrostatic pressure, higher will be the GFR. Lower is your glomerular hydrostatic pressure, lower will be the GFR. Now, I will just explain it with the help of a diagram. If we can draw a diagram over here, it will be much clearer, right? Now consider it as some kind of water pipe, right? It has branched out and it is exiting via this route, right? Now this one is your afferent arteriole, and this one is your efferent arteriole. Now it's obvious now that if the blood flow, if it somehow constrict this afferent arteriole, then the blood flow through this afferent arteriole will be impeded, right? So these glomerular capillaries will now receive less blood. So the glomerular hydrostatic pressure is going to reduce. So when the afferent arteriole constricts, the hydrostatic pressure within these glomerular capillaries is going to reduce, right? And your GFR will be reduced, right? If these afferent arterioles dilate, then more blood will reach into these glomerular capillaries, right? But if more blood reaches these glomerular capillaries, right, your GFR is going to increase, right? Reverse is true for efferent arteriole. Just think of it as a water pipe at the other end. If you constrict this water pipe, you will have more water stagnated over here, right? So GFR is going to increase, but for a short duration. In case of constriction of efferent arteriole, GFR will increase, but for a short duration. And in case of dilation of efferent arteriole, if it dilates, the whole of this water will get very easily emptied out. These glomerular capillaries will very easily get emptied out. So GFR will decrease, right? So just in case of glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, in constriction of afferent arteriole will reduce the blood flow and reduce the GFR. Dilation of afferent arteriole will increase the blood flow and increase the GFR. For efferent arteriole, constriction of efferent arteriole will increase the GFR, and dilation of efferent arteriole will reduce the GFR. Now, what are the other factors which can affect? One more very important factor is your capsular hydrostatic pressure. Now, what exactly is capsular hydrostatic pressure, right? The hydrostatic pressure inside the capillaries, which makes the blood flow outside, is the glomerular hydrostatic pressure. But there is fluid over here also. So, the pressure exerted by fluid in the Bowman's capsule is your capsular hydrostatic pressure. Suppose there is obstruction anywhere in the whole of urinary tract, right? It can be level of hilum, it can be level of urethra. If there is obstruction anywhere in the urinary tract, right, the pressure inside the Bowman's capsule is going to increase, and it is going to oppose the hydrostatic pressure inside the glomerular capillaries, right? So in case of obstruction of urinary tract, this capsular hydrostatic pressure is going to increase and reduce your GFR, right? What else can alter your GFR, right? The size, shape and charge of molecules can alter your GFR, right? Size, shape and charge. Size, shape and charge of molecules can alter your GFR, right? As per the concept of size is concerned, you need to understand one thing, the concept of 4 to 8. 4 to 8 nanometer, right? If any substance, any protein molecule, or any molecule, if it is bigger than 8 nanometer, right, it won't get filtered out, no matter what the charge, right? If anything is less than 4 nanometer, it will get filtered out, no matter what the charge. But if something is between 4 to 8 nanometer, then the charge actually matters, right? If something is between 4 to 8 nanometers, then negatively charged ions will find it tough to cross, because all your cyanoproteins, right, all that nephrin chains, everything is negatively charged, right? So all the negatively charged proteins or any molecule which is negatively charged will find it tough to cross, right? And positively charged molecules will find it relatively easy to cross, right? In this 4 to 8 nanometer bracket. So in size, you have to understand the concept of 4 to 8 nanometer. If more than 8, it won't cross no matter what the charge. If less than 4, it will cross no matter what the charge. If 4 to 8, the charge becomes very critical. Next thing is shape, right? For shape, you need to understand, right? If something is shaped like slender particle, like a pipe, like a thin thread, right? And any molecule with the same molecular weight is arranged like this, right? Now we have got a slit. Suppose we have got podocytes, right? Got podocytes, and there is one small slit between these nephrin chains, right? Which of these two molecules you think is going to cross? Let's name them A and B. Which of these two molecules is going to cross through these slits? Of course, A can cross because of its shape, because of its slender shape. And B won't be able to cross because of its globular shape, right? So the size, right? In terms of size, anything more than 8 nanometer won't be able to cross. In case of shape, anything which is slender will find it easy to cross, and the globular will find it tough to cross. And charge, the negatively charged ions or molecules will find it tough to cross, and positively charged ions or molecules will find it easy to cross, right? Now, what else can alter your GFR? One more important factor is your oncotic pressure. Oncotic pressure, right? Oncotic pressure is basically the osmotic pressure of plasma. Now here, if you get lot of osmotically charged, lot of molecules over here which exert osmotic pressure, right? If they exert osmotic pressure, they will try to pull fluid inside them, right? And this is going to oppose the GFR, right? As simple as that. If there are a lot of osmotically active molecules inside these capillaries, they will try to pull fluid inside, right? And in the process of pulling fluid inside, they are going to reduce your GFR. And it often leads to one confusion. I will explain what exactly that confusion is. That in how and why questions, whenever the students are asked, if someone takes high protein diet, right, what will happen to GFR? So some students come with the logic that in case of high protein diet, you will have a lot of protein molecules over here, and they will exert osmotic effect and try to pull the fluid inside, and this will reduce the GFR, right? This logic is correct if you just consider the capillaries, right? But sometimes when you try to reason out the things with tunnel vision, you focus on just one portion, you get it wrong, right? So if someone eats lot of proteins, right, of course there will be a lot of proteins in glomerular capillaries, and it will try to pull fluid inside, right? But what else can happen? If you take a lot of protein in your diet, you will have lot of amino acids because of its breakdown, and those amino acids will go to PCT, and those amino acids along with their absorption in PCT will take a lot of sodium inside. So your macula densa will receive less sodium. So in turn, the sodium potassium ATPase pump will work a lot less. Less adenosine will be formed. It will lead to less vasoconstriction or vasodilation, right? So taking high protein diet will increase your GFR, right? So apart from the local effect, you need to understand the whole concept holistically. Why exactly GFR increases in case of high protein diet, right? What else can affect GFR, right? Other thing which can affect GFR is your glomerular capillary permeability, right? Glomerular capillary permeability. Now, there are many diseases which increase the permeability of the glomerular capillary membrane, and there are many diseases which decrease the permeability of the glomerular capillary membrane. As for example, in glomerular nephritis. In glomerular nephritis, the permeability of the capillaries actually increases, right? And in diabetes, that focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, right? In late stages of diabetes, the permeability of the glomerular capillary membrane actually decreases, right? So in case of diabetes, the permeability is going to decrease. Permeability is going to decrease. And in case of glomerulonephritis, the permeability is going to increase. Right? Now, what else can affect GFR? Right? A very important factor which can affect your GFR is your effective filtration surface area. Right? This is also a very important factor. Effective filtration surface area. Now, what is effective filtration surface area? The area through which the blood is actually passing. Now, there are a lot of glomerular capillaries and blood doesn't exactly pass through all those capillaries, right? Some capillaries remain shut and some capillaries remain open. Now, who decides which capillaries will remain shut and which capillaries will remain open? It is actually decided by mesangial cells, right? That same cells which are part of monocyte macrophage system, right? When they enter skin, you call them Langerhans cells. When they enter liver, you call them Kupffer cells, right? And when they enter kidney, you call them mesangial cells. Now, mesangial cells, with the help of their contractile mechanism, actually decide which capillaries will remain open and which capillaries will remain closed. These mesangial cells are in turn acted upon by a multitude of hormones, which we will discuss in our subsequent classes. And through the effect of these myriad of hormones, the mesangial cells decide that yes, these capillaries will remain open and these capillaries will remain closed, right? And more capillaries are open, that means more blood is flowing, GFR will increase. More capillaries are closed, that means less blood will be flowing, GFR will decrease. So mesangial cells, by altering the effective filtration surface area, decides the amount of GFR, right? So mesangial cells. Okay. So let's sum it up, right? So what are the factors which affect your GFR, right? First thing is your renal blood flow, right? More is the renal blood flow, more will be the GFR. Less is the renal blood flow, less will be your GFR, right? Other thing is your glomerular hydrostatic pressure. More is glomerular hydrostatic pressure, more will be GFR. Less the glomerular hydrostatic pressure, less will be your GFR. Other thing is your capsular hydrostatic pressure. More is the capsular hydrostatic pressure, less will be your GFR. Then we discuss the size, shape and charge of the molecules, how it affects the GFR. Then the oncotic pressure affects the GFR. Then glomerular capillary permeability affects the GFR. Then the effective filtration surface area also affects the GFR, right? So hopefully this class helped you in understanding the various factors which affect your GFR, right? Wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.